There is something fascinating about humans that are a little bit, or a lot, different from the rest of us. It's no accident that movies like The Avengers are big hits at the cinema. On our planet, living among us there are also humans with real superpowers. The people in this list, some well-known and some not, all have something extra and special about them. It could be something to do with their senses, or the way their brain works. To drill down to a detailed article on each and every one of these amazing superhumans, let's get started.
Top 10.
Derek Amato. The musical genius, Derek Amato was born on November 19, 1966, a regular kid, with no special talents. As a child, Derek always had an interest in music. He played the guitar a little, and could even manage to belt out chopsticks on the piano, however he never actually had formal lessons. In his adult life Derek tried different fields of work with a string of jobs in sales, coaching baseball, public relations, and coaching karate, but he was always unclear what he would like to do and what career to pursue. At the time of his accident, Derek Amato was 40 years old. Derek says that when he hurt himself in the pool the impact was hard and his head was hit badly. Unfortunately, the side effects of his head injury were hearing loss and memory loss. Just days after his accident, while visiting a friend, he felt inexplicably drawn to a keyboard and started to play original music, beautiful and fully structured. The music flowed effortlessly from his hands. Before this incident, Derek had never composed music. He described the experience as white and black structures that were moving from left to right in his mind, like a continuous and fluid stream of musical notes. He later discovered that not only could he compose and play piano, but he was also able to recall in his mind any prior played song and recreate it on the piano.
Top 9.
Jyothi Ra. The Monkey King. Jyothi Raj is also known as Kathi Raju, which means Monkey King. The most unique thing about him is that he climbs Chitradurga Fort without safety harnesses. Surprisingly, Raj is the only person to have climbed the highest waterfall of Karnataka, Jog Falls, which is 830 feet high. The most amazing fact is that Jyothi Raj scaled the waterfall in the direction opposite to that of the flow. Jyothi Raj chose a rock and decided to climb it before plunging to his death. The huge rock presented a dilemma. There was no easy route to reach the top. But Jyothi Raj managed to scale it anyway, by observing and emulating the monkeys around him. And when he got to the top, he was rewarded with cheers and applause from passers-by who had observed his feat. He didn't want to die anymore. Instead, he became India's most famous monkey climber. Jyothi also said an Indian should climb the Burj Khalifa and set a world record. If I or one of my students do it, then I will be really happy.
Top 8.
Rammohan. The Electric Man. You and I would possibly die of electrocution if we fumble with electric current. And that will happen within microseconds as the voltage passes through our body. But this is not the case with Raj Mohan of India. He is a man with weird gift of surviving electrocution, or simply put not getting shocked when he touches naked electricity. He, in fact, can survive 30 times over the normal amount of electric current that will instantly kill an ordinary man. Raj Mohan's case is that he possesses a superhuman ability, a rare gift that many people do not have. He simply connects one end of the wire to his tongue for proper conductivity and another end to a power source. The other end goes to whatever device he intends to power on from his body, and it happens. Raj Mohan discovered his abilities when he lost his mother at the age of 7. Heartbroken and destabilized, he attempted to commit suicide. He climbed up a high-tension pole with high voltage passing through, touched it but nothing happened. He climbed down and realized that he might have been gifted with something for the loss of his mother. Till date, Raj still lives and amazes people with his ability to conduct electricity strong enough to power a whole building. Believe it or not, Raj is immune to electricity.
Top 7.
Wim Hof the Iceman.
Wim has been running barefooted through the snow since he was a teenager. From an early age he stunned the world with his abilities. In 2007 he attempted a climb of the most dangerous mountain in the world, Mount Everest, wearing nothing but a modest pair of shorts and sandals. Unfortunately, he had to turn back once he reached 24,300 feet, 7,400 meters, after suffering frostbite in his foot. He was only 5,000 feet away from the summit. Wim is an autodidact, self-taught, educated, and learned to control his body temperature with the power of his mind. Thanks to this mind training, he has developed an amazing ability to not only survive better than most in the cold, he can do this wearing ridiculously few clothes. He has been able to achieve astounding feats of endurance under extreme cold temperatures. He also the master of coolness in very dangerous situations. Hence the name. The Iceman. Top 6.
Dennis Rogers, the strongest man.
Dennis can rip apart phone books with his bare hands, bend horseshoes and roll up frying. Dennis is super inspirational. He believes that the strength in your hands is core to the strength of your entire body, and it does make good sense. Dennis noticed his strength at a young age when he and his brother were trying to replicate strongmen that they had seen on TV. He was able to repeat the feats with ease. Dennis had a tough time at school. Back in the 70s, he was less than 80 pounds at the beginning of high school, and not only weak, but clumsy as well. He struggled with believing in himself in the early days, thinking that he was too small and not gifted enough to do anything related to sports. Who would have thought that? Roll forward 40 years. And he is not only a grandmaster strongman, but a former world arm wrestling champion. Top 5.
Miroslaw Magola, the Magnetic Man.
Watching Miroslaw Magola stick things to his skin is both fascinating and a little bit creepy. Once you have seen him perform a few times, you will realize that this is a man that is absolutely passionate about what he does. Occasionally, when demonstrating his amazing talents, things may not always work perfectly for the Magnetic Man. This is when you start to realize you are not watching a rehearsed stage act. Miroslaw was born on May 29, 1958 in Gorzo Wielkopolski, Poland. He was the younger of 3 children. Unfortunately, at the age of only 2, he was left fatherless after his father died in a motorcycle accident. He spent his youth in a small town and developed an interest in humanistic studies. Alongside religions, he also became active in the political arena. His ideas were the opposite of the Soviet policies of the time. Miroslaw traveled the world following his interests in ancient cultures, religions, and philosophy. By the time 1992 came to pass, he had an avid interest in psychokinesis and unlocking the secrets of the mind. Top 4.
Gino Martino, the human anvil.
Have you ever wondered what it must be like to break concrete blocks with your head? Well, please don't try this at home. Leave it to the human anvil. Gino Martino, real name John Ferraro, was born on November 28, 1970. Best known by his ring name Gino Martino, John Ferraro. Ferraro is an all-American professional strongman and wrestler. He has wrestled for a number of organizations including Paulie Gilmore's New World Wrestling, NWA New England Championship Wrestling. He is considered one of the top brawlers in the Northeast of the United States. Gino Martino has a superhuman skull, him to break concrete over his head. He has also had Bowling balls dropped onto his skull from a height of 15 feet.
3, 2, 1.
He recently set the Guinness World Record for having 45 concrete blocks split over his head. Top 3.
Isao Machaii. Samurai master, born on August 20, 1973, Isao Machaii is a Japanese Iaido master from Kawanishi, Japan. He holds 6 Guinness World Records for his katana skills. Isao Machaii first became known to the world when he obtained a record for the most sword cuts to a tatami mat sitting alone on the ground without a mat stand. This practice is called swagiri, and it requires a perfectly even, extremely fast cut as to not knock the tatami mat over. In 2004, Isao cut a stand-alone mat 7 times before it fell to the ground. This almost superhuman act took an extraordinary amount of skill, that which has never been surpassed. That is, aside from, by Isao himself, when 11 years later he cut a stand-alone mat 8 times without it falling over. Isao's first record would only be the beginning of his legacy. So far all of these records sound extremely impressive, but within the realm of possibility for a master swordsman. Though what Isao does on June of 2013 can hardly even be explained. As he stares down the barrel of an airsoft rifle, he prepares himself to cut a BB pellet fired towards him at 158 km per hour. With his sword still seated in his scabbard, the gun fires and Isao draws it and cuts in one fluid motion, which splits the pellet in two in what can only be described as pure instinct. Any normal human would not even have time to react to the bullet being fired before it passed them, let alone draw a sword and make an attempt at cutting it.
Top 2.
Daniel Kish. Human echolocation. Daniel Kish was born into hardship. From the very start of his life, he was diagnosed with a belligerent form of cancer that attacks the retinas. The only way to save his life was to remove both of his eyes. Perhaps instinctually, though, young Daniel Kish began to notice the bright side of the situation almost immediately. You won't believe what the child who would eventually came to be known as Batman would discover, an ability that would change his life forever. Blind Batman Daniel Kish. For as long as he can remember, Daniel Kish hasn't been able to see through his eyes. But to Kish, his blindness isn't a handicap, it's an opportunity to unearth human potential that has been hidden beneath the surface. Kish, who has become known as Batman since presenting his abilities on his now popular TED Talk, lives his life totally independently despite his blindness. Kish can do everything from buying his own groceries and preparing his meals, to mountain biking and hiking. In other words, he is able to see, just not in a way that is familiar to most other people. Read on to learn about Daniel Kish's incredible story, how it all started.
È stato bellissimo vederlo, Juan.
Top 1.
Scott Flansburg. The human calculator. Scott Flansburg was born on December 28, 1963. At the age of 9, Scott began to discover that he had what some describe as mental calculator abilities. He found that he could solve math questions that his teachers gave and didn't need to even write down the calculation.
95
times
85.
8,075.
Additionally, when visiting the grocery store with his family, he would know the amount of the bill and would have told his father, who wrote out the check, before the bill had even been rung up.
48. 96, 144, 192, 240, 288, 3136, 3844, 3240.
Yeah.
Something amazing is that as a youth he started to notice that the number and shape of angles in numbers are related to their values. As a result of this, he stopped counting 1 to 10 on his fingers and began to think in terms of 0 to 9. Human calculator. Scott has one of the most amazing abilities that we as Sapien Plus have ever seen. He can add, subtract and divide big numbers with an amazing degree of accuracy in a manner that seems unfathomable to normal human beings. So there you have it, our top most amazing human skills. Hit the subscribe button for more upcoming top amazing things every week. and hit the notification bell button to keep you posted. Don't forget to like our Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching.